everyone, it's me, Kelly, again. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. What struck me most was how quickly Carly realized that Ava knows far more about Sidwell's activities at Windermere than anyone suspected. I've always believed Ava is a survivor who keeps her cards close to her chest, but even I was taken aback by the depth of her involvement. When Carly accused Ava of putting Lucas in danger just to protect her own interests at the art gallery, the tension in the room was palpable. That moment reminded me of so many old battles between them, yet this time it carried heavier stakes. Lucas is family to both, in complicated ways, and seeing Carly voice that concern showed how deeply she cares, even while fighting for her own survival. Then came the real turning point. As Cullum threatened to paint both women as Sidwell's accomplices, Ava leaned in and whispered a daring counterplan. Using sensitive information she had gathered from Ethan Lovett about a cold fusion project, she proposed turning the tables on the WSB agent himself. I have to admit, I let out a little cheer at that. Ava has always been resourceful, sometimes to a fault, but this showed a level of cunning that felt true to her character, while also pushing the story into darker territory. For once, Carly had to listen. The two of them, who have spent decades distrusting each other, suddenly had to place their faith in one another to keep the secrets of Spoon Island from burying them both. I've always been fascinated by Ava's complicated relationship with Risk. For months, I've watched her ignore obvious warning signs about Sidwell, convincing herself she could handle him because of the money and power he represented. When she finally admitted to Nina that Carly had been right all along, it felt like a genuine breakthrough. Money had blinded her, just as Carly had warned. But now, with Cullum closing in, that blindness is costing her dearly. I keep asking myself, will this moment of clarity last? Or is it just another temporary awakening before she falls back into old patterns? I've seen Ava grow and regress so many times over the years, and I truly hope this time she learns something permanent. The situation grows even more intense when we consider what Ava is offering in exchange for cooperation. She has positioned herself to help Carly rescue Jocelyn, which is a huge step toward rebuilding some trust. Yet in true Ava fashion, she's demanding something significant in return: custody rights over Avery. This request reveals a new obsession taking hold. Avery has always been at the center of their conflicts, and watching Ava use this crisis to strengthen her claim shows how layered her motivations remain. Is she genuinely trying to be a better mother, or is this another calculated move? I lean toward believing there's real love mixed with self-interest. That's what makes Ava such a compelling character after all these decades. Carly, for her part, is facing an impossible choice. She needs Ava's help to save her daughter, but surrendering more ground on Avery feels like a betrayal of everything she's fought for. Their uneasy alliance crackles with potential. I've loved watching Laura Wright and Maura West play these scenes. Their chemistry is electric, whether they're at each other's throats or reluctantly working together. The way they circle one another, testing boundaries while sharing critical information, feels authentic to the long history these characters share. Agent Cullum's role in all this adds another layer of danger. His investigation is growing darker by the day, and I sense his plans run deeper than simply exposing Sidwell's crimes. The way he pressures both women suggests he may have his own agenda. Is he truly serving justice, or is there something more personal driving him? I worry that his threats could push Carly and Ava into even riskier territory. The secrets surrounding Spoon Island and that cold fusion project feel like they could explode at any moment. Nina's conversation with Ava earlier in the week still lingers in my mind. Nina was right not to believe Sidwell had simply vanished. Men like him don't quietly disappear to some beach. They regroup and come back more dangerous than ever. Ava's relief was understandable, but premature. I keep wondering what will happen when Sidwell resurfaces. Will Ava's newfound willingness to trust Carly hold up under that pressure, or will old habits pull her back into isolation? One thing I've always appreciated about General Hospital is how it weaves personal drama with larger threats. This current storyline does both beautifully. We see the emotional toll on Carly as she fights for Jocelyn, the internal struggle within Ava as she confronts her own mistakes, and the larger web of conspiracy involving powerful organizations like the WSB. It makes the stakes feel incredibly high, yet the heart of the story remains with these women and their complicated bond. I find myself genuinely excited for what comes next. Will Carly and Ava's fragile partnership survive the next round of questioning? Can they truly protect each other's secrets while pursuing their own goals? And what role will Lucas and Jocelyn play as the danger escalates? I've learned over 40 years of watching that just when you think the characters have reached their lowest point, the show finds new ways to test them. This feels like one of those times. There's something almost hopeful in watching two longtime adversaries lean on each other, even if it's out of necessity. It reminds me that change is possible, even for people as stubborn as Carly and Ava. At the same time, I remain cautious. Ava's pattern of ignoring red flags has cost her before, and I don't want to see her lose everything because she couldn't fully break free from that cycle. What struck me most was how quickly Carly realized that Ava knows far more about Sidwell's activities at Windermere than anyone suspected. I've always believed Ava is a survivor who keeps her cards close to her chest, but even I was taken aback by the depth of her involvement. When Carly accused Ava of putting Lucas in danger just to protect her own interests at the art gallery, the tension in the room was palpable. That moment reminded me of so many old battles between them, yet this time it carried heavier stakes. Lucas is family to both, in complicated ways, and seeing Carly voice that concern showed how deeply she cares, even while fighting for her own survival. Then came the real turning point. As Cullum threatened to paint both women as Sidwell's accomplices, Ava leaned in and whispered a daring counterplan. Using sensitive information she had gathered from Ethan Lovett about a cold fusion project, she proposed turning the tables on the WSB agent himself. I have to admit, I let out a little cheer at that. Ava has always been resourceful, sometimes to a fault, but this showed a level of cunning that felt true to her character while also pushing the story into darker territory. For once, Carly had to listen. The two of them, who have spent decades distrusting each other, suddenly had to place their faith in one another to keep the secrets of Spoon Island from burying them both. Right now, Carly is doing everything in her power to save Jocelyn. That mother's determination is something I've always admired about her. She's willing to make deals she never thought she would, all to bring her daughter back safely. I keep thinking about how far Carly has come over the years, and this storyline feels like a true test of her strength. Yet the path she's walking is filled with difficult choices, especially when it involves trusting Ava. What really caught my attention is the possibility that Ava might regain custody of Avery. If that happens, it proves one of the most significant changes we've seen in her character in a long time. For years, Ava has fought for her daughter in ways that often seemed selfish or manipulative. But this time, it feels different. There's a genuine shift happening, as if the dangers she's facing are forcing her to reevaluate what truly matters. I've watched Ava lose and regain relationships many times, but seeing her fight for Avery with this new sense of purpose makes me hopeful. Of course, only time will tell if this change is permanent or just another layer in her complex personality. This development is creating new trouble that keeps escalating. The new shock in the story is adjusting everything we thought we knew about these characters' futures. Carly is now crafting her own plan involving Sidwell and Cullum, driven by a desire for revenge. I find this particularly interesting because Carly has always been a fighter who protects her family at all costs. By turning the tables on these dangerous men, she's showing that same fierce loyalty we've come to expect from her. Yet revenge can be a double-edged sword. I wonder if Carly's actions will truly save Jocelyn, or if they might bring even more danger to Port Charles. I've seen storylines like this before, where one bold move leads to consequences no one anticipated, and this feels exactly like that. The uneasy alliance between Carly and Ava continues to crackle with tension. Ava's willingness to help Carly rescue Jocelyn comes with strings attached, including her push for more rights over Avery. This exchange highlights how their relationship is evolving under pressure. I've always enjoyed watching these two women navigate their complicated history. There's respect mixed with resentment, and now necessity is forcing them closer together. It makes for compelling television, especially for those of us who have followed their journeys for decades. Agent Cullum's investigation adds another layer of darkness. His threats are pushing both women into risky territory, and I sense his own motives may not be as straightforward as they appear. Is he truly seeking justice, or does he have a hidden agenda that could explode in everyone's face? The secrets surrounding Spoon Island and that cold fusion project feel explosive. I keep asking myself how long Carly and Ava can maintain their fragile trust before something breaks. The heat is rising quickly, and I believe the upcoming episodes will deliver even more surprises. Nina's earlier conversation with Ava still resonates with me. Nina was right not to believe Sidwell had simply vanished. Men like him don't quietly disappear. Ava's relief was understandable, but perhaps too soon. With Carly now actively plotting against Sidwell and Cullum, the stage is set for a major confrontation. Will Ava's newfound clarity help her stand strong, or will old habits pull her back? I truly hope she has learned from her mistakes with Sidwell. Money blinded her once, but the current dangers might finally open her eyes for good. One thing I've always appreciated about General Hospital is how it balances high-stakes drama with emotional depth. Carly's determination to save Jocelyn, Ava's evolving role as a mother, and the revenge plot against powerful enemies create a perfect mix. It reminds me why I've stayed loyal for so many years. These characters feel real in their flaws and strengths. They make mistakes, face consequences, and occasionally find redemption. I find myself genuinely excited for what comes next. Will Carly's plan with Sidwell and Cullum succeed without costing her more than she's willing to pay? Can Ava truly change and become the mother Avery deserves while navigating these threats? And how will Lucas fit into all of this as tensions rise? The new shocks and escalating troubles make me feel like we're on the edge of something big. I've learned over 40 years that just when you think the characters have reached their limit, the show finds new ways to test them.